Well, Thursday sees the end of the summer transfer window, so every manager in the Premier League will be keeping busy over the next 24 to 48 hours, making sure that they keep a hold of their big stars and they might be able to bring in one or two players before the window closes. Warren Ashurst and Tom Hill with you to talk you through four of the biggest transfer stories doing the rounds at the moment. And Tom, Christian Eriksen's future has been at the centre of speculation throughout the summer. We now understand that Manchester United have pulled out of the running to sign the Danish international. The latest suggestions are that Real Madrid could be his next destination, but not until next season. He might give it one more season at Tottenham and then decide to move on. I think Spurs will be doing their utmost, Tom, to make sure he stays.
Well, it's, I guess, last chance saloons win a trophy, isn't it? If they can win some form of trophy in England to get that deal over the line, to make sure he stays beyond next season, Warren, I think he's pretty loyal to them. I think he perhaps, if he's not going to be the main man at Real Madrid in the summer, of course they've gone with Hazard, if the funds are a little bit uncertain, I think Eriksen will probably stay put. He knows he's got Champions League, he knows he's got a regular starting berth. It's just whether they can get that trophy, because I think there's a couple of players that are on the verge that perhaps might move on if they can't get it over the line. He just comes across a little bit panic buying from Real Madrid a little bit. If they've not got Pogba, is he next best option? I wonder how he feels about that, because Pogba's clearly been their main option that they've failed to get over the line, and perhaps that's been his thinking. Next on the list then is the transfer of Wilf Zaha. The ongoing saga seems to be, of course, reaching its end early this week, with reports claiming that Everton had pulled out of talks. But now today's reports claim that the Toffees have gone back in one with an even bigger bid of around £70 million to try and test Palace's resolve. First it was Arsenal, then it was Tottenham that were linked, as well as other Premier League clubs, as well as some European teams. But now it appears that Everton are just going for it with this free-flowing cash spending, and Zaha for £70 million.
Well, Palace digging in the heels, aren't they? They clearly don't want to let Zaha go unless they receive what they feel is the fee that they deserve for the player. I mean, there's been a lot of talk about Everton using players in the attempt to try and persuade Palace to sign. St. Tosun and James McCarthy were the two players in question who were being mentioned. I think James McCarthy's going to go to Palace anyway, to be honest, by the looks of things, and that may well scupper any sort of deal that they had in the pipeline for Zaha. It would be a massive surprise if he was still a Crystal Palace player come the start of the season this weekend. If you'd said 3 or 4 weeks ago that was going to happen, I think that everybody would have said, no way, he's going to be moving on. But it looks more and more likely that Zaha will be staying at Palace, at least for the time being. Who knows, maybe until the January transfer window. Well, another man who's on the lookout for a new club at the moment is Danny Welbeck, released, of course, by Arsenal at the end of last season. Had a whole host of injury problems, of course, during his time at the Emirates. Well, now we believe that he is in talks with Watford about a move to Vicarage Road. He is available, of course, on a free transfer, having been released by Arsenal. And I think Watford could be in for potentially one of the deals of the summer here, Tom, getting him on a free. If he can stay fit, he's still only 28. He's still got a lot to offer.
I think it's a cracking signing. I really do. You know, England international when he's fit. We all know that the England coaching setup think very highly of Danny Welbeck. He's pacey, he's determined, he works very hard. The one aspect of it is perhaps his goals. Does he score enough goals? But if they've got someone like Troy Deeney, Gerard Deulofeu, perhaps it's a signing for if Deulofeu moves on, because they keep saying over the years that he's a man that could be going back to Spain, or he keeps flirting with the idea of it. So a man with bags of experience, if he can come through those injury problems, they might even be able to get him on a slightly cheaper deal with it being on a free. And I think for Welbeck, it's perfect. If he could have stayed somewhere, it'd be in London, around where he's from. I don't think it's a better fit, really. I thought someone like Palace would have gone for him, coincidentally. But of course, we've mentioned earlier with that Wilfred Zaha rumour. And last but not least, then, is the transfer saga surrounding Mezut Ozil. Now, he's been, I guess, the boo boy for most of the Arsenal fans of the last few years. Many don't think he's suited and they want him out of the club. And one side is the MLS outfit, DC United. They need a replacement for Wayne Rooney, who's Derby County bound in January. We'll probably touch upon that in a few weeks' time, because that transfer seems to have been come from absolutely nowhere. But in terms of a like-for-like replacement, Rooney was playing in like a number 10 box-to-box midfielder role. Ozil, seems to, I guess, like a challenge. He left to join the Gunners in a surprise move a few years ago. Is that a realistic deal, though?
I don't think so at the moment, and I think mainly because of his age. At 30, he probably feels like he's got another couple of seasons left in him in top-level European football. Having said that, from an Arsenal perspective, if they get a reasonable enough deal, I think they might be tempted into this move. I think there's been a little bit of disharmony maybe amongst the ranks. We're led to believe last season, even though Arsenal played down those reports, that Unai Emery had a couple of fallouts with Mezut Ozil on the training ground, a couple of big games that he wasn't involved in. So there has been a lot of speculation regarding whether he'll stay or go, but in terms of a move to America, I think it's potentially come too soon, this, for Mezut Ozil. I think another couple of years and it may well happen, but I would be surprised to see that move come off. Well, they are the 4 big transfer stories at the moment. Then, as I say, the deadline is on Thursday. Lots of clubs trying to do late business. And, of course, we'll keep you updated with developments. So make sure, of course, that you follow us on our social media pages, on Twitter and on Facebook, and subscribe to our YouTube channel.